maybe not. I mean, because you could do all that same stuff in the other programs, and you know, hanging indents. And well, I'll show you different techniques basically on how to deal with the text in InDesign. Essentially, I don't think it's going to take the whole half hour, but I am going to make another, you know, a couple more videos about different InDesign techniques. And I did that one video about the book, so I finished the book off, and that's it so far. Anybody have any questions about anything so far, or any other projects? No?
No, I think we're good.
All right, and I've been trying to submit feedback for you, so. Some of you have submitted video feedback, and if you want that deleted, you just let me know, and I'll delete that for you, because it's all private. Basically, those links are private, so the only people that could see it are the people who have the links for it. The reason why I did some of them as videos was because it was just too confusing, I thought, to try to type for you of what I was talking about. So, all right. So InDesign, let me get rid of all this nonsense. I have so much stuff open. I have way too many videos going on at the same time on my computer. So, well, ones that I was working on for like my other 2 classes, and then this one. So I probably have like, yeah, I have 3 different programs open at this point. You guys could probably see that. Yeah, anyway, this is much more harder, I think, than being in person. All right, so InDesign is how like a regular, let me get rid of these videos over here. I don't need to look at that. All right. Anybody else come in? No, nobody else is here, right? Okay. I had to pay attention to that. Otherwise, I had to actually invite people in. I don't know why. All right. So I just have like a regular page open in InDesign, and you'll see that I have all these blue marks here. These are all paragraphs. All right. Now, if I go under, let me see if we can find it. All right, we go to type. Under type, there's hide hidden characters. See, all that blue is gone. Now, the reason why I brought that up is because on my last page I just made, right before this meeting happened, I put what these different symbols mean, what these hidden characters mean. So you'll see right here, that means that there's a tab, which is different from, you know, just me, you know, making a space with my space bar. And it works different with the program. So if I was to make some sort of table of contents or numbers, page numbers of some sort, or just like numbers of food items, I might want to use tab as opposed to using my space bar. So let me show you why. All right. So up here, numbers 1 through 7, I used tab, I believe. So what I'm going to do is go back to the type, show hidden characters. Oh no, okay, so yeah, I used it on some of it, okay. Now if I use a space bar, you see the dots, and if I use tab, it makes a space, and you see the double arrows right here, that means I use tab. All right, let me show you why, what the difference is there. All right, now this guy, this bar, actually, you can use it with this. If you've actually been to type before and you saw the word tabs, and you've tried to use it with this, it's probably been very hard to do so, probably won't work at all if I just select it with like my, you know, my arrow here. But I have this selected here, and I'm sitting there trying to move this stuff around, none of it does anything. So it's a little confusing. So what you do is you have to actually highlight, you know, like say these top 3 right here, and now I can use these together. So if you look at where I'm selecting on the bar, I'm actually selecting right here, right on this tiny little gray bar. So it's all about where you touch. If you go a little bit below that, it doesn't work the same. And if I move this over, wait, let me see if I can move this over too. So I'm gonna move, I didn't mean to put that arrow there as my end arrow, but anyway, I get rid of that. If I can move this over, it moves just all that over. And that would have been easier for a lot of you, because a lot of you are probably sitting there, you know, using the space bar. If I wanted this to be squished in, I could do the same thing over here. I can kind of move all this in over there. And you see how it manipulates the entire paragraph, just like you would in like Microsoft Word or something like that. So I'm going to assume that most of you have not been using the tabs. Now, the cool thing about this is that if I actually used tab on my keyboard as opposed to space, I can now manipulate, you know, just the numbers. So let me see if I can show you that real quick. This I use spacebar for, so I'm gonna actually come in all the way back. I'm going to use tab. All right, and the same thing over here. Let me just go back. I'm just going to use tab a couple of times, all the way down to probably number 7. I almost forgot to hit delete. All right, so this gets a little rough sometimes here. Too many numbers. I don't know why I chose so many. All right. There's no number there. Why did I even? Okay. Well, there's no number there. Okay, that one's gonna be number 7. The one down there is number 8 now. All right. All right. So, I mean, the benefit of using tab is that it spaces it all out for me evenly. If I actually, when I was doing just the numbers, it wasn't, right? So I'd have to hit the space bar like, 3 times on each and every single one. And when I could just hit tab, it would just automatically go to the right. That's why it's working, because I already set it up. It's already doing what I wanted it to do, because it's all lining up. All right. Whereas before it wasn't. So let me start a new one. I was like, wait, why is it working already? I'm like, I had to try to make it messy, but being that I already did this paragraph already. All right, let me start a new page real quick. You see how it's all nice and neat, whereas if I was sitting there trying to manually line up the 1 and the 2 and the 3, that took a lot longer. And I'm sure some of you guys have already done that. So I'm sure that you've tried that out in InDesign already, and you're sitting there struggling to make everything line up. So I'm going to go to an empty page. Where is there? Empty page? There's an empty page. Let me zoom out. All right, and now you can see this thing, I can just move around to wherever I want. And it only applies to whatever I've highlighted at the time. So let me draw a text box here, fill it in with something. Where's it? Placeholder text, there it is. I'm like, how did I lose that already? And what I did is, I'm pretending these are like lists of something. So I had to kind of make a little bit of room. That was messed up. I was like, why is that working already? It's already all nice and neat. That's what happens when I set up the demo before you guys get here. So, all right, I don't really need that many. So up here, if I chose to do a space bar, and put number 1, and I do the same thing down here, put number 2, or I can then come down here and I can do tab, number 3. Down here, same thing. We'll do tab, number 4. And that's really far out. I need to zoom in because I really am not going to be able to see what's going on. All right. Let me get rid of that. I guess nobody else came in. I'm going to minimize this. All right. So I'm just going to, no, that was too far in. Still too far in. Let me move this over a little bit. Wish I was working on a bigger screen. All right. So now you can see that here are the dots, and that meant that I used a space bar, and then these meant that I used tabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, highlight this one all the way up to the top. All right. And then I'm going to, let's see if we can do this over. You see this all moves together. Now, if I had, here's the thing is if I had a paragraph indentation at all in here, you would actually have to do that separate. So for the first line, if I had it indented, you'd have to, do it completely separately. Now, if I, let me see if I can do the left arrow would be here, we'll say. Now, when I'm moving this in and I'm moving this arrow in, you see that the one that's moving is just this number 3, and the other ones are not following. All right. And if I do this one, let's see if we can do the same thing. Again, it's not responding to it at all. Why is that happening here? Let me figure this out real quick. Oh, because the text is in the way. It's trying to. All right, let me move this guy over. Let me get rid of that. But anyway, it's worth playing around with. That one moved over. What's happening is my 4 cannot move any more over to the left because the words are in the way. Otherwise, the 3, 4, and 5 would all line up. So if I hit 5 and I hit this, and I line them all up, the 5 will line up. But these guys aren't responding to that. So let me see if I can get them to. And it's because of what I did with the tab. Let's see. See, they don't respond to it. Now, if I change this to tab, let me get rid of my spacing and I hit tab, it responds to it. That's what I'm trying to show you. So the benefit of not using your space bar to make these little dots, well, not little dots, to space your numbers away from the image, there is none. You want to use tab, because if I hit tab, then it responds to this guy up here, this tab bar. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's easier to line things up for you. Some of you guys that were making menus or listing things, life would have been a lot easier instead of hitting the space bar to move everything over if you were to choose to use tab. So like this one right here, if I did a bunch of dots, so space bar, space bar, space bar, and I used, I don't know, number 9, and I wanted to line up to these guys, it's probably not going to unless I sit there and manually do it. So if I actually went and left align, right align it. You know what? I can't get to work at all now. Okay, wait, let me go back. Let me go back here. All right, we have a bunch of these now. Okay. So 9 is, I come in here, 9's not responding to it at all. If I keep moving it in, these 3 are allowed to respond because they don't have any words in the way, all at the same time. Number 9 can't respond at all. So here, let's look. Where's number 9? Let me hit return. I'm gonna make another number 9. Actually, I need less words so I can prove my point. Otherwise, I'm not gonna prove anything. All right, so let me go back. Actually, I'm gonna move this over. And I move it in, and you see 9 still doesn't respond. But if I had it on tab, it would. All right, so you guys get the idea of that, I would guess, right? Or am I confusing you? I don't really know.
Makes sense.
9's responding is the point now because I put it as a tab. So if you just use space bar to space everything out, then you really can't use this bar as effectively as you can use, because otherwise you're sitting there trying to line everything up. You're sitting there with your guides. You're going, trying to line number 1 up all the way to every guide, all your numbers up to the guide, and it's a lot harder that way. That's what this is for, really, the tabs. All right. The other thing I wanted to show you was the indents. So let me go back up to not page 1. That was funny because I was like, why is everything lined up on this one? I'm sorry, I already set it all up because you can see all my tabs up. Well, I know you can't see them anymore. I'd have to delete all those, but yeah. But this, again, if I start playing around with this right now, it's not going to do anything to anybody unless I have it highlighted, so, but that was under type. So it's kind of cool to, use. All right. Anyway, no, wrong one, this one. All right. So this one, what I was doing was, let me see if I can move this around. I'm on the wrong one again. All right. I was playing around in this area up here. Let me see. Let me highlight this. I had the character and paragraph open, and I had this whole top area open up here. And you can see that. Let me move this down a little bit because my Zoom stuff's in the way. All right. So you see these indentations right here is left indent, first line indent, and this is right indent. So if I could actually highlight, and that's all I did for this. I didn't sit there and use the space bar at all. Like I can't even come over here. There's nothing, like I can't select it at all. A lot of times when I'm working, what I do is if I want to indent my stuff, I hit the space bar. Now it's not working. Why is space bar not working? Wait a second.
Well, it says on the bottom that you have, now it says you have 2. Before it said you had 3 errors.
All right. Well, I probably have more than that. Well, no, you're right. It says that.
Ever since you showed, the day that you showed me that in class, now whenever I'm working on like the horror book that I'm doing, the ABCs of horror, I'm constantly after like even after adding just one illustration or something to it, I'm constantly checking after resizing everything to make sure there's no errors.
Well, yeah, right now I have errors, definitely. There's two of them, but they're probably hidden stuff from me fooling around too much. All right, so now I don't really like to work with the hidden characters out, but if I needed them out, see why, like, what, say if my one number was not cooperating, then I can put hidden characters on, and I can say, oh, I didn't use tab on that number. I used the space bar, so let me go and fix that. So I'm going to get rid of the hidden characters and type hide hidden characters right now, because I don't want to look at it. That's the reason. So for this paragraph, what I did is, even though I drew a text box, I was able to indent it all without using the space bar by using this. See, I could, move it around and manipulate it. And I did the same thing to this side. I squished it in. So this way, and this one's 2, so I want to probably do the same thing. This way it's centered. And then this, because it's not highlighted, is extending all the way out to the edges of the text box. That's what all this was about. Because I don't see, a lot of times when people, indent this far, they're using the space bar to do it, and you don't have to. You can actually just, highlight this and do it all nice and even. Then I had to remember, okay, I did the space bar 8 times. So I had to be like 1, 2, 3. Again, why am I torturing myself over here? All right, there we go. We're working again. All right. So I dropped this down, and I'm like using the space bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I have to count over here how many times I use a space bar. Then I had to chop the word in half. That's why it's not working. And this is how most of us would probably do it, right? I would think we'd sit there and hit the space bar a bunch of times, for every line. It's not necessary, because you can just do it all in one shot by using those tools. Let's be like, I want to enlarge this. What am I doing? All right. So this is typically how most of us would probably do it. Probably drop a guide over here and be like, okay, we want everything to line up to that, and we hit space bar. And there's no need for that. All you do is highlight this, come up here, and then, do it up in this area up here. All in one shot. This word's got to be on its own line, so that's why it's doing that. But see how much faster that is? It's a huge time saver. All right, and the other thing I wanted to show you real quick, let me hit new, was this. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. You can draw any shape that you want. What I chose to do is I drew like a rectangle. This is a lot like InDesign. So I'm going to fill in the color. All right, and then what I drew was polygon. But polygon, when I was drawing the shape, is I was doing the arrow keys on your keyboard, up and down arrows. It turns into this. Kind of makes copies. I'm going to drag these over.
And how did you pull that off just there? Were you
the keyboard arrows? I didn't let go of it.
Really?
That's what I did. Yeah, hold polygon, but don't let go of it. And the same thing in InDesign. InDesign, if you hold the star, you can actually use the keyboard arrows to make a bit like a new sign. I'll show you in a second. But like this, I hold up and down up and down arrows on the keyboard, or left and right.
And it just creates multiple ones for however long you hold it down
I'll
for?
remember how many numbers I pick. Yeah, Illustrator's the same way. Let me see Illustrator real quick. I was doing the tessellation project walkthrough for 2 of my classes. I'm making a video, one that's going to be done by paper and one that's going to be done on the computer. So that's why this is up. All right. So anyway, in InDesign, Illustrator, I don't even know where we're working now. All right. I have
You're an illustrator now.
So the star tool in Illustrator, same thing, minus the arrow keys on the keyboard does all this. And then you let go of it. So don't let go of it or it won't work. You have to still hold it with your mouse.
Oh, okay. Hold it with the mouse and then
press
use the arrows.
Yeah, as you're holding it.
Gotcha. Oh, and so for that one, all it's doing is adding more of the rays, pretty much, or whatever they are.
You turn into a triangle. Yeah.
Okay.
Say polygon, I think does the same thing. I think, right? Let's see. Yeah, polygon also turns to a triangle eventually. So InDesign does the same thing as Illustrator with that, except it's cooler. It doesn't actually doesn't do the same thing. It doesn't add points. It adds multiples. All right, let me get rid of this one. Actually, that one's kind of cool, but yeah, I'm getting rid of that. It's just too much. Oh no, I had to get rid of them all as individuals. What did I do? All right, so all right, you know what? Yeah, that wasn't cool. All right. You know, I'm just gonna get rid of no, all right. I had to go back and do every single one as an individual. That's ridiculous. All right, don't let go of them next time and just group them. That's the, you know, it's gonna be faster for me to start over. Let's just delete all that. Okay, that was messed up. I didn't group them. That was my mistake. Let me just start over. I didn't want to really use them. I was just showing them as an example, and then I was just going to delete them, but that was going to take an eternity. All right, so as I'm drawing, wrong way. I'm going to hit a couple of these. And then what I was going to do is I was going to cut into the shape. You know, like this. Hold them both, and I was going to find Pathfinder, which I had lost. So there's Pathfinder. Just like an Illustrator, right? I have Pathfinder, and then I'm going to minus the front, subtract. And so now this is all one big shape with a hole in it. Okay. So I put stuff behind it if I want. But I want text in it. So I'm going to hold the text tool, click on it. I'm going to right click it, do fill placeholder text, and you see my text fills in there. All right. And I can still use the tools up here for that same text. So if I hold all this down, I could still play around with the right alignment and left alignment of the text. So this way it stays away from the wall a little bit. It's not that close. Okay, that was a little too much. Okay. And the same thing on the other side. I want to go into the minus. Oh, it's not going to let me go into the minus. Anyway, that's good enough. Doesn't matter. I can also probably still use this. I don't know why I'd want to use this on there, but I'm sure that we could pull that off. See, yep, we can. See, I don't know exactly why we'd want to use it on this.
After highlighting everything in Pathfinder, which one of those in Pathfinder did you click?
And this is the same thing for InDesign. I mean, in Illustrator. I keep telling I can't even know where I'm working anymore. I am teaching too many classes online. It's driving me crazy. All right, so basically I had a shape here. I had to make sure it was filled in. So make sure your shape's filled in. And then you had a new shape. Why is that not working? Okay, let me get rid of that. You have a new shape. Why isn't it, is it underneath? Yeah.
Yeah, it's underneath.
It's underneath. All right, let me send this one back. I'm gonna go to, where's it arrange? Send it back. There we go. Here's my cutouts, right? Oh, this again. I forgot to group them. That's just such a pain that they don't group by themselves. All right, get out of here. Okay. All right, you know what? This is gonna be the way I'm doing it. Unselect, no, unselect this. There we go. All right, I'm gonna move these guys.
That is weird how like if you create them the way that you just said with the arrows, you're creating them all at once, but yet it doesn't group them together.
Yeah, it doesn't group them. That's weird. It's such a pain. All right.
It's like if I'm creating all these at once, I would want them all grouped together.
Yeah, I guess you have to group them afterwards. All right. So, all right. So this one right here. So
that's subtract. The one that you clicked.
Subtract.
Oh, okay.
So where did I find Pathfinder as a window? Object and layout. So window, object, and layout, and then Pathfinder. So you guys can find Pathfinder. That usually helps too, right? And align and transform. It's just that I set this all up before you got on here, and I probably should have told you where all of it was at. So, because my tools are already out, so I forgot that they're not automatically usually out. So window, object, layout, and then transformer, Pathfinder, and then I hit this, which is subtract, and then it puts a hole in it. And it could be any.
Now it groups it together.
Yeah, now it groups it together. And you can put it anywhere you want now. Okay. And then you could, even draw text on it if you want.
So now when you're typing in that, Exactly. Okay, it's not gonna go through those circles or through those shapes in the other one. It's gonna go around it, like it'll know to do that.
Yeah, because it knows it's holes. These are hole cutouts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing if I drew any shape. If I drew like any kind of shape, and the same thing for the other program too, Illustrator. I could draw any shape. Right now it's a hole. Now it's not a hole. It's gonna be filled in. And I could draw, I don't know, circle. And then I could just hold these both down and intersect it, and it becomes a hole. Let's see. And it just knows not to do it. But yeah, that's essentially it. I mean, I wasn't going to cover much, much else because I figured that there'd be more people. Last time there's more people on and maybe some more questions, but there's only the two of you this time. But that's okay. This morning there was two people too. But I'm gonna, like I said, I'll post this one.
You mentioned something before about video feedback.
Yeah.
Instead of typing it, is that posted already? Because I couldn't find it.
Well, some of the people I did video feedback for, some people I didn't. I believe that yours was a video feedback, so it should be posted. Yeah.
Where would it
In
be?
Blackboard.
Okay. Under announcements,
Where your grading section is. I'm not really sure because I
or the
can't.
grading section.
Yeah, wherever you see your grades for your projects, that's where it's at.
Okay, so under the attempt one,
You have a personal link. I think yours, I definitely did a video for.
oh, okay, yeah, I see it.
And it's a link that only you could see the YouTube video. Unless you
Yeah,
share that link with somebody else, nobody else can see it. All right.
I see it. Okay.
And then when you want me to delete it, you just tell me to delete it, or I'm just going to delete them all at the end of the semester because, yeah. But
Now, when it came to like when I was designing stuff for the book that I'm doing, um, I'll say the border like that goes for each page. Like I think yours right now is like the one that the holes are in, that they're inside of like that border of the page.
yeah.
So I had stuff like just inside of that square, not going outside of anything. And then when I went to export it as the PDF file to see what it looked like, it was too small. And now I made them bleed a little bit out of the actual space to like the the gaps, I'll say, like for the pages, and it looks way better. So is it okay to have them bleed outside of the I'll say the border, the perimeter?
Yeah, I mean I had to see it, but I'm sure it's fine. If you think it looks better, I'm sure it's probably fine. I'd have to see it though to know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Oh,
Well,
it definitely looks better
I
because
take a
certain,
snapshot of it and send it, I'm sure it looks better.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had to resize some stuff because if it was a big part of how to like determine in the like when you're reading the book or looking at the book, I'll say, because it's mostly, it's pretty much all visuals. It was some of them were like small objects that like relate to what what was on that page, as far as like what movie it was going to be for.
All right. Yeah, I gave you whatever you ended up submitting, I ended up giving you feedback on, so I didn't see that part yet. So send it in and I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
And then yeah, I think some people I just did videos for, it was just easier. Some people I didn't. So yeah. Anyway, so,
I saw that comment too. I just didn't know. I didn't even notice the YouTube link. I just honestly saw like how some of it was some of the feedback that's in the comment.
right.
It actually says some stuff, and my eyes just went right to that. I didn't even see the YouTube link.
Yeah, check it out. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure I'll give other people YouTube feedback too eventually. It just depends on whose work needs it. You know, sometimes it's easier to explain something by visually pointing to things. And I can't, do that. I mean, then I'm going to just hype it out and I have to explain where it's at, and that's kind of confusing. So, yeah. Anyway, so I mean, maybe, I mean, like, you guys are okay with everything else so far? I still find this weird, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I'm good so far. If you could do me a favor and send me an email like the day of that we're doing this, just because I'm still getting used to like being on here and I kind of forget sometimes.
All right, I guess I could do a Blackboard reminder emails. Let me write
Yeah.
that down